One machine, that's all it takes today to do the work that once required 30 men and 30 horses. But this isn't a story about technology. It's a story about what happened when machines became so powerful that thousands of workers disappeared, small farms went bankrupt, and agriculture changed forever. These are the harvesting machines that rewrote the rules of farming. Wheat, the original revolution. In the early 1900s, harvesting wheat was a community event. You needed everyone. 30 men with hand tools cutting the stalks, bundlers tying sheaves, wagon teams hauling everything to the thresher, a dedicated crew just feeding grain into the machine and bagging it. It took 320 man-hours to harvest what we now consider a small field. 320 hours. That's 8 weeks of full-time work for one person. When the first self-propelled combine showed up, everything changed overnight. Suddenly 5 men could do the work of 320. The combine cut the wheat, threshed it, cleaned it, and filled a truck, all in one pass. No bundlers, no wagon teams, no stationary thresher, just the machine and a truck driver. Today's wheat harvesters are operating at levels that would have seemed impossible a century ago. A single modern combine can process 12,000 acres in one season. That's running about 1,000 operational hours during harvest. To put that in perspective, in 1920, harvesting 12,000 acres would have required mobilizing an entire town's workforce for months. Now it's one operator working 3 or 4 weeks. But here's the thing that changed farming forever. These machines are expensive. A modern combine costs $500,000 to $750,000. Small family farms can't afford that. They either go into massive debt, rent equipment at rates that kill their margins, or sell out. The farmers who survived weren't the best farmers. They were the ones with access to capital. That's the real story of mechanization. It wasn't about making farming better for farmers. It was about consolidating farming into fewer, wealthier hands. Today, one person with a modern combine harvests more wheat in a single day than an entire medieval village produced in a year. Think about that scale shift. One day versus 365 days of an entire community's labor. And wheat was just the beginning. What happened to tomatoes is even more brutal. We're talking about 32,000 people losing their jobs in just 5 years. Hit that subscribe button because this story gets darker. And if you're already hooked, smash the like button. Tomatoes, the California Massacre. Before mechanical harvesters, tomato picking was one of the most labor-intensive jobs in agriculture. To harvest 75 tons of tomatoes in a day, which is what large operations needed, you required a crew of 30 highly skilled workers minimum. These weren't just any workers. They had to know which tomatoes were ripe, how to pick without bruising, and work fast enough to meet quotas. It was grueling work in 100-degree heat. Most workers could only last a few seasons before their bodies gave out. The first mechanical tomato harvesters showed up in California in the 1960s. They were crude but effective. These early machines reduced labor needs by 60%. That sounds good until you realize what it meant. 60% of the workforce became unnecessary overnight, and even these early machines still needed 12 people riding on board to hand sort tomatoes and remove defects. Today's harvesters use electronic optical sorters. Cameras and sensors analyze every tomato at speeds no human could match. The crew requirement dropped from 12 people to 2 or 4. Some of the newest models run with just the operator. One machine, 1 or 2 people, processing tons of tomatoes per hour. Here's where it gets dark. When California mechanized tomato harvesting, 32,000 workers lost their jobs in just 5 years. 32,000 people suddenly unemployed. But it wasn't just workers. Small farmers got crushed too. The machines cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Only large operations could afford them. Small family farms that had been growing tomatoes for generations suddenly couldn't compete. Within a decade, 82% of California's small tomato farmers went bankrupt. 82%. The survivors were the big guys. Corporate farms with deep pockets who could buy entire fleets of machines. Processing tomatoes used to be a crop that supported thousands of small family operations. Now it's dominated by maybe 20 large companies. The mechanization didn't just change how tomatoes were harvested, it changed who could harvest tomatoes at all. Here's the brutal math. Mechanical harvesting costs 49% less than semi-mechanical methods, where workers still pick by hand. 49%. If you're a farmer competing against someone with machines, you lose. Period. You either mechanize or you're done. But if you think tomatoes were dramatic, wait till you see what happened with potatoes and root crops. Potatoes and root crops. The hidden transformation. Potatoes are interesting because the replacement ratio is so clear-cut. One self-propelled potato harvester does the work of 23 manual laborers. Not approximately, exactly 23. That's not theory, that's measured productivity data from agricultural engineering studies. Before mechanization, a worker with a pitchfork could harvest maybe 0.2 acres of potatoes per day, 1/5 of an acre, after a full day of exhausting work. Modern harvesters process 8 to 15 acres per hour. Let's do that math. At the low end, that's 8 acres per hour versus 0.2 acres per day. One machine working 1 hour does what would take 40 workers an entire day. Mechanized potato harvesting costs 49% less than even semi-mechanized methods. That's the difference between profit and bankruptcy for most operations. And here's what people don't realize. It's not just about saving money on labor, it's about timing. Potatoes have a narrow harvest window. If you're too early, they're undersized. Too late, they rot in the ground. With manual labor, you're limited by how many people you can mobilize. With machines, you harvest exactly when conditions are optimal. That timing precision translates to better quality, less waste, and higher prices at market. But let's talk about what this did to rural communities. In potato growing regions across Idaho, Washington, and Maine, entire towns were built around harvest season. Thousands of migrant workers would show up, spend months working, pump money into local economies. When the machines arrived, those workers stopped coming. The motels closed, the restaurants shut down, the grocery stores lost business. Mechanization didn't just replace workers in the field, it hollowed out entire communities economically. If this is blowing your mind, drop a comment and let me know which crop surprised you most. Are you team wheat, team tomatoes, or team potatoes? And make sure you're subscribed because we're about to get into wine grapes and strawberries. Crops people thought could never be mechanized. Vineyards and specialty crops. The modern frontier. Vineyard harvesting used to be almost romantic. Skilled workers carefully selecting bunches, filling baskets, maintaining quality. Then machines like the Pellenc Selective showed up. One harvester working one night does what 20 skilled workers would do by hand. In premium vineyards with large operations, one machine replaces crews of 30 or more. A mechanical harvester can process 1 hectare, about 2.5 acres, in under 5 hours. Manual harvesting, 1 to 10 days for the same area depending on the crew size. The speed advantage is so overwhelming that even in regions famous for hand-picked quality, machines are taking over. Strawberries were supposed to be impossible to mechanize. Too delicate, too irregular, too dependent on human judgment. Then robots arrived. Machines like the Harvest Kiro robot can now cover 8 acres of strawberries in a single day. That replaces a 30-person picking crew. And here's what's wild. The robot uses computer vision to identify ripe berries with better accuracy than human pickers. It doesn't get tired, it doesn't miss berries, it doesn't bruise fruit from careless handling. This is where we need to talk about what really changed. Early harvesters were about mechanical force, cutting, lifting, moving crops faster than humans. Modern harvesters are about vision and intelligence. They use cameras, spectral sensors, and AI to make decisions that used to require human eyes and judgment. Tomato harvesters identify ripe fruit by color analysis. Grape harvesters detect sugar content through near-infrared sensing. Strawberry robots map entire fields and remember which berries to pick on the next pass. We're not replacing human muscle anymore. We're replacing human perception. And once machines can see better than people, there's no job they can't eventually do. Quick reminder, if you haven't liked this video yet, hit that thumbs up. It helps YouTube show this to more people who need to understand what's really happening in agriculture. We're about to cover cotton and sugarcane, and the numbers are absolutely insane. Cotton and sugarcane, the extremes. Modern cotton harvesters in China's Xinjiang region do the work of 2,000 daily workers. 2,000, but even in the United States, the transformation was brutal. Before modern harvesters, cotton picking required massive crews, especially during the short harvest window. You needed pickers in the field, drivers running bull buggies to collect the cotton, operators building modules, coordinators managing logistics. One modern cotton harvester eliminated all of that. One operator, one machine, processing, compressing and wrapping cotton modules without any support crew. Sugarcane harvesting might be the most dramatic transformation of all. Cutting cane by hand is brutal. Workers with machetes in 100+ degree heat, cutting thick stalks all day. A skilled cutter might process 2 tons of cane per day. Maybe. Modern harvesters like the Ostoft 9000 process 2,000 tons in a 20-hour shift. That's literally 1,000 workers replaced by one machine. Here's what this means in practice. A large sugar operation that used to employ 1,000+ seasonal workers now runs with maybe 20 full-time machine operators. That's a 98% reduction in labor. 98%. The social impact in countries like Brazil, India, and Thailand has been massive. Entire communities that depended on cane cutting work have been economically devastated. But from a pure business perspective, the economics are undeniable. Labor costs dropped by 80 to 90% overnight. The big picture? What really changed in 1870? Almost 50% of Americans worked in agriculture, half the population. By 2008, that number dropped to less than 2%. Less than 2%. We're not talking about a gradual shift. We're talking about one of the most dramatic workforce transformations in human history. Here's the stunning part. Agricultural output didn't collapse when the workforce disappeared. It skyrocketed. 1 hour of agricultural labor today produces more than 6 times what it produced in 1920. 6 times. With a fraction of the workers. We're producing more food than ever, using less land than ever, with fewer people than ever. But here's the catch. Farming is no longer about knowledge and hard work. It's about capital. A competitive farming operation today requires millions in equipment. Combines, planters, sprayers, GPS systems, data management software. You need tractors that cost $400,000, combines that cost $750,000, sprayers that cost $500,000. A modern row crop operation can easily have $3 to $5 million in equipment. That's before you even buy or rent the land. Small farmers can't compete. They physically cannot access the capital needed to farm efficiently at modern scales. There's a famous economic thought experiment called the horse paradox. When cars arrived, horses didn't become less important. They became economically obsolete. Their population collapsed from 26 million in 1915 to 3 million by 1960. Nobody decided to eliminate horses. Market forces just made them unnecessary. The same thing is happening to agricultural workers right now. It's not that farmers are cruel or that they don't value human labor. It's that machines are so much more efficient that using human labor makes you economically non-viable. And we're about to see this accelerate. Computer vision and AI are eliminating the last jobs that required human judgment: sorting, quality inspection, selective harvesting. The strawberry robots are just the beginning. Within a decade, we'll have autonomous machines that can handle almost any crop with minimal human oversight. The question isn't whether agriculture will become fully automated. The question is what happens to rural America when it does. So what did we really learn here? Mechanization didn't just make farming more efficient, it fundamentally changed who can farm. The wheat revolution of the 1920s required crews of 30 men. Today it requires one person with access to $750,000 in capital. The tomato mechanization of the 1960s eliminated 32,000 jobs and bankrupted 82% of small farmers in California alone. Potato harvesters replaced 23 workers each. Grape harvesters replaced crews of 30. Cotton machines replaced 2,000 workers. Sugarcane harvesters replaced 1,000. But the real shift wasn't about replacing muscles. It was about replacing eyes, judgment, and decision making. Modern harvesters don't just work faster, they see better. They analyze in real time. They make thousands of micro adjustments per minute that no human could match. Here's what we need to acknowledge. Agriculture is no longer a people industry. It's a capital and technology industry. The farmers who survived weren't the hardest workers or the most knowledgeable. They were the ones who could access financing, scale up operations, and invest in machines. Small family farms didn't die because they were inefficient. They died because they couldn't afford to be efficient at the scale machines required. And it's accelerating. Autonomous tractors are already running in fields. AI-powered drones monitor crop health. Robots are learning to harvest delicate fruits. Within 20 years, we'll see farms where one person manages 50,000 acres using fleets of autonomous machines. The future of agriculture isn't about feeding the world with fewer people. That's already happening. The future is about what happens to rural communities when farming doesn't need communities anymore. If this video changed how you think about modern farming, here's what I need you to do. First, smash that like button. It actually matters for getting this in front of more people. Second, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss our next videos on Agitech. We're covering autonomous tractors, AI crop monitoring, and vertical farming next. Third, and most important, drop a comment right now and tell me, do you think full automation is inevitable, or will there always be a place for human farmers? I read every single comment and I genuinely want to know what you think, and if you made it this far, you're the real MVP. Check out the video I'm putting on screen right now about the most powerful farming machines in 2026. You're gonna love it.